The scariest pollution isn't what you can see, it's what your body can't escape. It rides in the air, hides in the clean things, and slips into your everyday food without a sound. Stay with me, because before this video ends, you'll never look at what you eat the same way again. You don't notice it at first because it doesn't look like danger. It looks like normal air, a street, a room, a sweater, a bottle. But the moment light hits it, the truth shows up. Tiny fragments, fine fibers, dust you never agreed to breathe. And that's the trick. This pollution doesn't need a smell. It doesn't need a warning. It just needs time. Because once something becomes small enough, it stops being outside. It becomes part of your routine, part of your body, part of what you think is normal. The road doesn't just carry you, it grinds plastic into dust beneath every tire. Every brake is a quiet release, so small you'd never call it pollution. Indoors feels safe until a vacuum lifts yesterday's particles back into your air. Even cleaning can shed fragments, tiny fibers rubbing loose under water and friction. Heat changes the feeling, steam rising, plastic close enough to touch what you eat. Look down a store aisle and you see the truth. Modern life is wrapped in plastic. Out in nature, big pieces don't disappear, they just break smaller and smaller. Inside a car, the door is closed, yet dust still hangs in the light like evidence. Water hits skin every day, and you trust it because you can't see what rides in it. The smallest things feel harmless until you realize small is how it gets inside. Tires, fabric, packaging, stores. It's not one source, it's a system around you. And once it's everywhere outside, it doesn't stay outside. It follows you home. It starts with the air, because you don't choose to breathe, you just do. In crowded spaces, you share the same invisible cloud over and over. Then there's water, the daily trust test. Clear doesn't mean clean. Even sealed bottles feel safe until you remember what the bottle is made of. Food is the easiest doorway. Open the wrap and the room changes. Heat makes it worse, steam rising, plastic close enough to touch your drink. Convenience adds another step. Warm it, spin it, breathe it in. And the origin disappears. A market looks normal, but the story behind it doesn't. Water keeps moving. It carries what you can't see, and it never asks permission. So you pause before a bite, not because it tastes wrong, but because the doubt is new. Air goes first to the lungs, where small enough means it can stay. Food goes through digestion, where tiny fragments can travel farther than you think. That's why filters became normal, not for comfort, just to feel a little control. Air, water, food, 3 routes, 1 result. It doesn't stay outside. Inside you, everything is movement. Rivers you never feel, carrying whatever fits. When something becomes small enough, it can travel with the flow like a silent passenger. That's why scientists don't guess. They collect, they isolate, they test. Because under a microscope, invisible becomes measurable, real enough to fear. Air can leave traces in the lungs, where tiny can mean hard to remove. Food takes another route, through digestion, where fragments can move beyond the stomach. Your body tries to filter what it can, but modern exposure is constant. Your immune system may react even when you never notice anything is there. And the darkest thought is proximity, how close it could get to what matters most. You can't feel it, you can't taste it, you only feel the doubt, after you learn it exists. Sometimes the proof is simple. What the filter catches was in the world you live in. And once it enters the network reaches everywhere. Some things don't leave easily, especially when they're small enough to hide. That's the horror. The table, the air, the water can become your inside life. At a certain scale, your body stops feeling like one thing. It starts feeling like a world that already had life inside it, microbes, systems, balance. And then something new arrives, not alive, not natural, but small enough to stay. It doesn't crash the system overnight. It blends in. It becomes background. That's when the fear changes, because the future isn't the planet, it's a hand you're holding. Inside, the ecosystem keeps moving like nothing happened. We did this outside first, turning Earth into a place where plastic never truly disappears. Now the same pattern shows up inside you, a network that carries everything everywhere. So life adapts around it, and coexistence becomes automatic. And one day you realize you're not just eating for yourself anymore, you're passing something down. The worst part isn't panic. It's the moment you can't unknow what you just learned. Suddenly, every clean routine feels like a question, and you don't know the answer. In the store, you realize choice doesn't equal control. Everything is wrapped the same way. Then you watch a child eat, and your fear becomes protective, not theoretical. Because health anxiety doesn't need proof you can see, it just needs uncertainty. So you build new rituals, filters, habits, tiny defenses, just to feel normal again. Even fabric becomes suspicious because the sources are everywhere. Life keeps going, but your mind doesn't sit down at the table the same way anymore. At night, the thought gets louder because silence leaves room for it. And you realize the real cost isn't plastic in the world, it's doubt inside your everyday life. You can't erase it overnight, so you start by removing the worst contact, heat touching plastic. Then you treat water like a daily input, filter it, and store it in materials that don't shed. For air, you don't need fear, you need airflow and filtration, especially where you sleep. And when you clean, don't launch dust back into the room. Trap it with damp wipes and wet mopping. Even laundry can be adjusted. Less friction, better containment, fewer loose fibers in the wash. None of this is perfect. It's just one idea. Reduce contact and take back a little control. This is real, but it's quiet. You live inside it every day without noticing. The danger isn't drama, it's accumulation, the invisible layer that keeps returning. So don't panic, don't obsess, just make a few small, easy choices that reduce the worst contact. Not perfect, just better, enough to protect you and the people you love.